Hey, it's a Humble Collector here. In today's video, we're taking a look at another photo from my collection. This one with a bit of a mystery that we were thankfully able to sort out with some help from the people on r/German World War II photos. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So right off the bat here, our eyes are immediately drawn to the Knight's Cross winner, center frame. Across from him, his back turned to the camera, is a Soviet soldier who's being questioned. We can see that there are maps out. They're trying to get any information that he has on, positions of Soviet forces, strengths, things like that. Now, unfortunately, this photo was not captioned. So even though we have, a Knight's Cross winner here who, generally those are pretty well documented, I didn't really have any clues as to who this actually was, which is why I went over to Reddit, specifically the German World War II photo subreddit, posted this and said, hey, does anybody recognize who this is? And right away, people started having some interesting comments. One person noticed that there's actually a pennant hanging in the background in the top left here, which seems to be from a reconnaissance unit. So at first I was thinking, okay, maybe he's with a reconnaissance unit. That makes sense. They're out in the field. They pick up the Soviet soldier getting ready to interrogate him. Now, in addition to that vehicle with the pennant, it seems like there is also like an armored car or something up here. However, eventually somebody did give a probable identification for who this was, and it appears that the man in question is Oberst or Colonel Ernst Maisel. Now, I found a photo of Maisel online, compared it to the one here. Certainly seems to look like it's the same person. I put it in an AI like face comparison tool, and they also confirmed with 100% certainty that they're the same person. Again, it's AI, so take it with a grain of salt, but seems to indicate this is most likely Ernst Maisel. Now, Ernst actually had a very long career. He was born on September 16th, 1896 in Landau, and during the First World War, he was a lieutenant or lieutenant, and had been awarded the Iron Cross Second Class on April 6, 1916, the Wound Badge on May 23rd, 1918, and the Iron Cross First Class on July 30th, 1918. And post-World War I, he remained in the military, working his way through the ranks, being promoted to Oberstleutnant shortly before the war started. Now, of course, the fact he's wearing a Knight's Cross in this photo means that this photo had to be taken after it was awarded to him. Now, he was awarded the Knight's Cross on April 6, 1942, while he was acting as commander of the 42nd Infantry Regiment, part of the 46th Infantry Division. So, based on that, this photo is likely taken in late 42 or spring of 1943. Now, the 46th Infantry Division was fighting on the southern front, specifically in Crimea and the Caucasus around this time. And if we look at this map here that we can see, I think this is actually showing southern Ukraine and Crimea, and then just in the south here, this large white section where there's no roads, I think is the Black Sea. So based off that, I'm tentatively putting this photo between April and September of 1942, because after that point, the unit would move into the Caucasus. Now, in addition to the Knight's Cross we can see here, you can actually just barely see the corner of his continuation class for the Iron Cross, just barely the wing of the eagle there. So, in addition to the Knight's Cross, he was awarded the continuation class for the Iron Cross Second and First Class on November 2nd, 1939 and August 3rd, 1941, respectively. He received the Silver Wound Badge on August 18th, 1941, and following the award of his Knight's Cross, he would eventually earn the Infantry Assault Badge on September 24th, 1942, the Crimean Shield on October 1st, 1942, and the Honor Clasp on November 6th, 1942. Now, some of you, as we've kind of been talking here, the name Ernst Maisel might sound somewhat familiar, and he actually played a small role in a pretty famous incident in World War II. Now, later on in the war, he would become a major general and was put in charge as the chief of the Office Group for Officers' Education and Welfare of the Army Personnel Office, which is a horrible mouthful, and I'm sure it sounds better in German. But essentially, one of his duties in this role is that he would serve as the court protocol officer for the trial of those involved in the July 20th assassination attempt on Hitler. And in this role, he would accompany General Wilhelm Burgdorf to the home of Field Marshal Erwin Rommel. And during that conversation, Burgdorf would give Rommel the options for basically how things were going to go down. And Rommel chose to take his own life as a result of that. So Maisel was there for that incident. Now, later on, getting right to the end of the war, Maisel would be put in charge of the 68th Infantry Division and would surrender to the U.S. Army on May 7th, 1945. He'd be released in March of 1947 and would live for several more decades before passing away at 82 in 1978. As I was researching this, there's actually a decent amount of information on Maisel online, my thoughts kept going back to the Soviet soldier that we see here, the one who we don't see his face, we just see his back and his backpack. And just the disparity, I guess, between him and Maisel. Maisel had a long distinguished military career. He survived the war, lived a peaceful life for decades. And as far as, the fates of Nazi generals go, he kind of won, The Soviet soldier here probably didn't. Over 5 million Soviet military personnel were captured by the Germans over the course of the war, and over 3/5 of those would die. And so we don't know who this soldier is, but likely in the following months, weeks, days, or, given the brutality of the Eastern Front, possibly only hours after this photo was taken, he would die, and he'd never see his home and his family again, something that Maisel would get to do. So while Maisel's the center of this photo and interesting in his own right, I kind of want to spare some time here just to reflect on that Soviet soldier who we don't know. Apologies for that. I've been waxing a bit more philosophical about my militaria lately, so apologize if that was a bit rambly. But yeah, overall, really interesting photo. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment down below. Love hearing from you. Thank you all for watching. Happy collecting, and I'll see you all again very soon.